Clearly, the show is starting its second season trying to mend the issues they've had with Ted since day one in making him a terrible father. Because they've been working overtime, not just today, been in a lot of episodes as of late to try and make Ted a better father. Hello, fellow Beyond the Gates viewers. Gonna talk about today's Friday, January 2nd, 2026 episode. I gotta say 2026 out loud so that I can remember it's actually 2026. We kind of had more of the same today on the show, the same as the last few episodes, where the Anita cancer story takes center stage and more people are finding out about it. And I guess we will start with Ted and Shanice because I feel like at least they're a little positive in a sea of a lot of despair and heaviness. Ted and Shanice are at least positive. I guess that's one way to make that potential coupling work is make the rest of the show despair and depressing and have Shanice and Ted start to be giddy with one another. You know, it worked on me today. I was relieved with some of their scenes. But Ted did have news to tell her about the cancer that Anita has. She first thought he wanted to talk about their kiss they shared on New Year's Eve. He said that that's not what he wanted to talk about, but as far as first kisses go, he seemed to think it was a great kiss. And then he asked her for advice on loved ones, how to really talk to Kat. Kat, meanwhile, was at the bar drinking hardcore, throwing back tequila when Tamas arrived because she called him over. He doesn't want a day drink, not only because he is working, but he's obviously concerned for Kat, I guess. He wants to know what's wrong. At first, Kat was doing her Kat thing of having a short temper and getting upset with Tomas really quickly when he didn't want to drink with her. But then she calmed down and told him about Anita's cancer and said that Anita is the heart of the family. Apparently, Kat has a love and hate relationship with tequila because every time she drinks it, she has a massive hangover the next day. And it seemed like by the middle of the episode, she was already not feeling so well from all of the tequila. It was at this point, though, that Ted tried to call his daughter Kat, but she didn't answer. She just ignored the call. Tomas, though, got called away to the office when he and Kat went home. Back to Shanice and Ted for a second, though, because Shanice was concerned also that it was a Ted and Nicole problem. She saw Nicole leave Ted's office earlier. Of course, Shanice did because she's so damn nosy. So she was worried that he wanted advice on his relationship with Nicole when they have this little budding thing going on. We'll get back to them. I guess later Tomas did end up at the office, if anyone cares. Kind of got into it with Hayley, which was odd. I guess they just wanted Hayley on this episode. Hayley was kind of like giving him crap for someone else at the office working harder, trying to make partner harder than Tomas is trying to make partner, I guess. As for Bill and Dani, though, they too end up visiting Vernon and Anita together. I do like that the show is at least tying their only two good stories together in, of course, making this family issue, this family trauma going on with Anita, a Bill and Dani story too, bringing them close together again, similar to when Chelsea was kidnapped. Bill and Dani got closer again. They're starting to again. Dani visiting her parents with Bill instead of Andre, her now husband, is kind of a regression from Dani, I would say. And Vernon and Dani talked alone today, and Vernon had those same concerns that Bill came over and visited with her. Obviously, both Vernon and Anita concerned if this is going to bring Bill and Dani close again, which it clearly already is. What was best about Vernon and Dani's scenes today was Later in the episode, when Vernon finally dropped the strength he's been using for a shield to help Anita through this and got emotional with his daughter Dani about his wife having cancer and him not knowing how to really deal with this and how to fight this. I thought that was once again a very realistic breakdown of grief going on with this story. So those were good scenes as well. Later in the episode, Ted did go to visit Kat, and I feel like they had a good conversation. Kat's been not wanting to deal with this since she found out the news yesterday. She got very stubborn yesterday. She immediately went to go drink. Today, I do feel as though Ted was the one to get through to her, and Kat talked about how she will always need her daddy. So I guess some good work there between Ted and Kat for once. And then Ted also went to go visit Martin to help Martin through the grief of this situation as well. Clearly, the show is starting its second season trying to mend the issues they've had with Ted since day one in making him a terrible father. Because they've been working overtime, not just today, been in a lot of episodes as of late to try and make Ted a better father. So I'll give them credit for that today, at least. While Ted was with Martin, he texted Shanice that she gave great advice and thanked her for that advice, which brought a big smile to Shanice's face. She texted him back, and it brought a smile to Ted's face. So that's what I meant about Ted and Chenise being giddy with each other. Before Ted came to visit Martin, Martin had to catch Smitty up on everything going on, which has been the last 3 episodes have been people finding out about Anita's cancer, which I still think the story is going along great, but I hope next week we get more than just this one story. I am also worried because a lot of you in the comments keep saying that it's too hard to watch this storyline, that you don't want to watch this storyline, and I understand why. And this kind of storyline is hard enough to watch. It's even harder when it's like the only storyline the show has going. And I think that's a mistake, especially for a show that needs to get a renewal for a 3rd season. And they have to get that renewal probably in the next 5 to 7 months. So that does worry me. I still do think the story is being strongly written, though, which is more than I can say for this show in the last few months. They have put all their brain power into this story. It can only go so far with everyone finding out about the cancer, though. It does seem as though next week we will move on to see people test for the gene. Will Dani have the gene? Will Nicole have the gene? That seems to be one of the main stories next week. And then, obviously, if one of them does have the gene, their kids, too, will then have to get tested. We'll see if Kat does end up getting tested, if Nicole does have the gene. And I think that's kind of it for today's episode. I mean, I don't have too much to say because it was very similar to yesterday's episode when kind of had just this one story. I guess I didn't touch upon Hayley being petty with Bill again today. Once Bill returned to the office after going with Dani to Vernon and Anita's, Hayley was being petty with Bill, acting like she hadn't seen him in ages, even though they saw each other that morning. Bill did finally tell Hayley about the cancer, but Hayley's just been playing it up this whole time. I think she overheard Bill yesterday and she wanted Bill to tell her today. Hayley's still just playing that character and playing it well. Clearly her past conning people, it made her a pro at just acting in character. I wish she would actually get upset with Bill one of these times. I saw someone online say that Hayley's hood needs to come out of her once in a while with Bill, and I agree. I think that could make the story more entertaining. Bill being shocked by some of Hayley's behavior and her kind of breaking out of character once in a while would be a nice touch. But they continue to take that storyline of her poisoning Bill very slowly. When Randy said it was slow acting poison, he was not lying. He was telling the exact truth. They are going to take their sweet time with that poison. Well, that is it for another week of Beyond the Gates. The one thing I didn't like about the preview is that they changed the preview music. I always like the preview music. As usual, on Sunday, I will try and make a video with discussion about the preview for next week's worth of episodes. Although I still think a lot of the preview revolved around this story, though.